I have never rushed so fast to my studio, my basement, um, as I did today. All right, I didn't even move some things around. We got the unplugged Peloton and stuff everywhere. I ran here because I have a news update that is gonna put me on the map. I'm talking put me on the map. All right, I'm talking put every sports story on hold. The world that may stop revolving just for a second because of this news. This is news that is going to change everything that we know of. It's going to literally change the world as we know it. I have an urgent update, and I need you to stop what you're doing and listen. This is very important. This urgent message was just given to me on a ticker from the Olympics, where there is definitely not a genocide happening, because why would NBC be covering it? Okay? Again, putting me on the map. Get ready. You're going to know my name forever because of this. The USA has pulled even at 2-2 in mixed curling versus Norway. Oh, is anyone else reporting that shit? Anybody? I got you. This is why I do this. This is what we do. We come out heavy hitting. We come out with important sports shit. This is what we do at this network. You just saw it. Mixed curling. Oh, 2-2, baby. LFG USA. Am I right? Or am I right? Huh? Welcome to the Social Spreader on a Friday. So, once I got my wits, once I really regathered my life, really, after that earth-shattering news, I started to think about, after going over the results from last night, so the experiment of the lean fade list, I think is official. That it certainly does have a conclusion. I use this week as one, and I'll fill all you in on how the results were. Plus, I have got 60 teams on my leans list and 60 teams on my fades. Okay, and you know what? Get your pen and paper ready, or a Word document or notepad on your phone, because I'm just gonna rattle off 10 leans and fades. All right, but before we do that, I couldn't help but take a look around and kind of notice how things kind of happened in this world, and when you pay attention, it's very unique sometimes. And without further ado, as I filibuster for some odd reason, the only segment that's really actually gotten quite a bit of traction is my weekly reflections, and lo and behold, it happens to be a Friday. So let's regather from the news, and let's go right into weekly reflections, brought to you by. I'm not sponsored yet. Anyway, so we start in Florida. A group of Nazis decided to overtake an overpass in Orlando, where they were obviously hurling racial slurs and doing the Heil arm movement, but they also decided to hang a sign over the interpass, which read, "Let's go Brannon." They don't know how to spell it. Amir Locke, or Lockey, I may be mispronouncing that. He was a legal gun owner, years and hours of training, not wanted for any crime, was not a suspect in any crime, lived in Minneapolis. As one man says, our state-sanctioned mobilized army executed a no-knock warrant infiltration of where Amir was sleeping. He was killed wrapped up in his covers. That's a story that's coming out of Minneapolis, where the police didn't really even say anything. They just executed a no-knock warrant and executed a man. 6 new head coaches have been named in the NFL. Not one of them is black. A black woman was sentenced to 6 years in prison in the lovely place that I always refer to, Texas, for registering to vote, not actually voting. And even though she got permission from her parole officer to register to vote, apparently that was against the law. And she is now facing 6 years behind bars. And meanwhile, in the aforementioned Texas, a white woman named Crystal Mason voted illegally for Trump, but hasn't received any punishment yet. Truck drivers in Canada have been protesting over mask and vaccine mandates, so much so to the extent that the truckers were driving their trucks, which they do not own, driving their trucks all over Canada heading to Ottawa. They paired up with some alt-right religious groups as well that were also traveling the country in protest. And then once they reached the capital, Confederate flags, swastikas, Nazi flags began to fly over masks. On the first day of Black History Month, 15 historically black colleges and universities received bomb threats. 6 juvenile Caucasians called them in. And all of this is happening at the same time that parents across America are fighting school boards to remove racial education from the school's curriculum. The irony. It never lies. Facebook's daily active users fell for the first time in nearly 18 years, hence forcing a very reasonable response, which is their stock lost $237 billion in one day. That is the largest one-day drop in stock market history. At the same time, the stock market is at an all-time high, and corporate profits have never been higher. But Starbucks announced that they have to raise prices of their coffees due to supply chain problems and inflation. They're also bragging to their shareholders that they have reached all-time record profits, up 31%, and have given their CEO a 39% raise to more than $20 million a year. It seems to me that American capitalism is doing a great job of brainwashing the entire country into thinking that price gouging is not corporate greed. And speaking of corporate greed, a yacht needs to port in Rotterdam. Why this yacht cannot port anywhere else, no one really knows, but it has to port in Rotterdam at a specific site, okay? Problem is, there is an historic bridge that has been there for centuries, and the yacht can't fit under it. So the owner of the yacht, his 4th yacht, is currently trying to pay people to dismantle the bridge so his $500 million floating apartment can pass through. You've probably already ordered something today on his site. We know who he is. Meanwhile, the same people who don't see corporate greed think that inflation has something to do with the president. What in the fucking hell is going on here? Speaking of hell, Zach Stacy. So, what we're going to do right now is we're going to go over I'm going to give you 10 teams on each side. What I did, as you can see here in my grainy photos, I'm putting them up here, I just made 2 lists. And the criteria was you needed a 5-game difference between how good you were against the spread versus how horrible you were against the spread. And some teams are horrible. And so I'm calling those leans and fades. If you're 12-7, the difference between how many winners and losers you have against the spread, we're talking just against the spread, not straight up. We're not worried about that. Good teams win, great teams cover. If there's a 5 games is going to be the criteria on each side. And there are teams, there are 14-5 against the spread. There's 15-5. But as long as you are 5 higher or lower, you've made this list. And so I've shared with you a couple of them. I think I've shared 10 teams. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through 10 leans and 10 fades. Why is this important? So when I made this list, I decided to apply it. Just simply not necessarily do as much research as normal, but take these teams that are really good against the spread and take the teams that are really bad against the spread. Whenever I find them in a matchup, I simply go one or the other ways. Now, it's a theory. It's certainly an approach something new that I've tried. I found some logic in it, and I think it kind of made sense. And this week so far, it's yielded me plus 9 units. Now that's simply against the spread. If I think there may have been some money lines if they're like plus 120, plus 110-ish, which is a coin flip anyway. If you've got a team that's favored by 1 and the money line is plus 110, well, I mean, why wouldn't you do that? And so these teams have yielded me being up 9 units after this week. And look, there are so many college hoops games. There's so many teams. It's really quite challenging to keep up with all of them. And so if you can just find some that are really good against the spread and really bad, you lean on the ones that are good, you fade the ones that are bad. I feel more comfortable fading the ones that are bad because in college, if you're bad, you're bad. So without further ado, I'm just going to read some off. I'm going to tell you the teams that are really good against the spread. These are going to be ones that are probably under the radar, that you probably haven't had too much action on. And so let's just start off right here. So the first team, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm just going to go through all of these, okay? 1, Murray State. If you've kept up with them, they've been a very good mid-major. They are 14-7 against the spread. Mount St. Mary's, not St. Mary's, Cali. Mount St. Mary's are 13-7 against the spread. Oakland, the Oakland in Michigan, they are 13-7 against the spread. Let me see here. I'm going to give you some ones that are actually playing tonight, I think, too. Cornell is 13-3 against the spread. 13-3. Middle Tennessee State is 13-5-1 against the spread. Hofstra is 13-6 against the spread. Seattle is 13-7-1 against the spread. Let's give you Portland, 13-8 against the spread. St. Mary's, okay, they're 14-6-1 against the spread. Long Beach, 12-6 against the spread. So there are 10 teams that are very, very good against the spread. Okay, those are your leans. Okay, you lean on them. The fades, and I'm going to give you some good ones here. Okay, NC State, 6-17 against the spread. Radford, 4. I already said them actually. Nope, sorry about that. We're gonna go over here. Winthrop, 4-15 against the spread. IUPUI 4-14 against the spread. Arkansas Little Rock 5-10 against the spread. Oregon State putting up a fight for the worst in the country, 5-13-1 against the spread. Utah 8-13-2 against the spread. Pepperdine 9-14 against the spread. San Francisco 6-15-1 against the spread. Sacramento State 5-11 against the spread. Let's give you one more. Georgia 5-14-1 against the spread. So, those are the teams that I've had action on this week. This isn't any revolutionary information. You can go and find these records against the spread all you want. I don't know if you guys have the time to do it. That's why I do it. But I've got 60 teams on each side. And look, if you can go 10 units a week, if you can be up 10 units a week, I envy you. All right? Because I don't envy you. You've obviously found a system like I did that has worked. But this shit's hard. And I've said this numerous times. And trying to get an edge, trying to find a way to turn the tables on the casino, which is impossible to do. I know that. But we're trying to find good edges, good leans, good fades. And I got it. Again, this has yielded me 9 units this week. So I'm not trying to toot any horns here. I've said this multiple times on this show. The overall hopeful outcome of this show for you is to put a little extra coin in your pocket during a time when everyone needs a little extra coin in their pocket, except for the 10 people that got monumentally more wealthy in 2 years while millions of people went into poverty and homelessness. So, I was going to take a look at the association tonight, and I'm done. I had a 5-0 night, and I am at 500, so I'm done. I'm even with the NBA. Cleveland, Charlotte have been fantastic against the spread, and they're playing each other tonight. It's really tough. And so this is a way for me to hopefully continue along this against the spread winning path. So, hope this is helpful. Go ahead and try to find these teams when they're on the schedule. I know there's a couple tonight, but I know tomorrow everyone's playing because every Saturday everybody fucking plays. So take a look at them. See if you can do this. See if this will work for you. It's worked for me thus far. And either way, no matter what you have going on this weekend or tonight in the association or in college hoops, good luck with your bets.